break. Brew and a friend bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio B. The B stands for Bryson and Aaron beat Brady and Mickelson.
Anytime it says beat Brady, man, Studio definitely is Studio B.
It's good. It's good stuff. Of course, we are presented by MSU Denver Online. Check them out, msudenver.edu/online to scope out all they have to offer. 750 total classes, 45 plus online and hybrid programs. There is something for everyone down there. You might even be able to take a class on how to read in between the lines when a Hall of Fame quarterback kind of demands to be traded but doesn't, and then makes a public appearance.
I think actually we're teaching that class right now.
We're
kind of becoming the experts in that.
Class is in session. Reading Way Too Deep 101. And we're going to have some fun with that today. Again, go over to msudenver.edu/online to scope out all they have to offer.
My boy, what's up, Ryan? How funny is it that literally yesterday I said Aaron Rodgers has only spoke twice this offseason, and before 2 days ago, he had spoken once this entire offseason in an ESPN interview, but more so like a fun interview why can't I think of his name? Who he was on ESPN with.
Oh, Kenny Mayne.
Kenny Mayne, yes, thank you. And then in 3 days, he speaks twice and just leaves us with so much room we can run with anything he says. So thank you, Aaron Rodgers, because I woke up this morning, and for being July 7th, I'm pumped for this pod. I think we're going to have some interesting conversations.
Yeah, I tweeted it out. I said, let's read way too deep into this because it's July 7th. We don't have anything else to talk about. That's half in jest because this is legit news.
Yeah.
This is legit news.
It is.
And like I said, on the surface, you take a future Hall of Fame quarterback who's potentially on the market. Like, that's news every day.
Right. Yep.
Until we find out a solution to this. And if there's new tidbits, new breadcrumbs, are you serious?
Especially when the breadcrumbs just spark more flames and maybe even light this whole thing on fire. Ryan, when you hear Aaron Rodgers yesterday asked who's going to be the Green Bay Packers quarterback in a game in October, and he says, I don't know, we'll see. And then he says, who's going to be the Green Bay's quarterback on September 12th, week 1 of this season? And their quarterback that's under contract right now, that's being paid as an elite guy who just won MVP, says, I don't know, we'll see? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Was this enough for you? You had said, Aaron Rodgers has to say something publicly. He hadn't really said anything publicly what did he say in the Kenny Mayne interview? I forget.
It was, again, very secretive, cryptic stuff, but nothing that was enough for me.
So is this enough for you?
This is a massive slap in the face to the Green Bay Packers organization, but it's still not demanding a trade. But what this is enough for is for me to increase my odds. I think yesterday I said I was 55% that Aaron Rodgers would be a Bronco, 65 now.
Wow.
Just by 5 words. I don't know, we'll see.
I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, that was awkward because what was the name of the guy who was doing? Was it Brian Anderson?
I think he kept calling him BA.
BA, yeah. Badass.
Was it a badass interview?
No.
He didn't push him far enough.
It wasn't bad, but he was a Packers fan.
Yeah.
So he was I heard the desperation in his voice.
Yeah.
It was kind of awkward, I'm sure you would hear the same thing if I was interviewing Aaron Rodgers. I'm you want to be a Bronco, right? Right? Please? That's kind of what it felt like. And Aaron Rodgers was not biting.
No.
He was not going to give... Because what did he say? Something like all of Packers Nation is listening. He was really trying to pressure him into giving Packers fans something good.
And that's just why I don't know, we'll see. Could you imagine Peyton in 2013 or 2014, or Tom Brady when he was with the Patriots 5 years? Or how about Patrick Mahomes right now? If he's out on the golf course or in any interview and he's asked, who's going to be a starting quarterback for the Chiefs this year? And he says, I don't know, we'll see. Like, no, you don't do that if you're a franchise quarterback. And obviously Aaron Rodgers isn't concerned about losing his job to Jordan Love, but what is he doing? I mean, this couldn't be this couldn't be a worse look for the Packers.
Yeah, it's a very tough look. I assume they were dreading that whole match.
Yep.
And Aaron definitely did not give Packers Nation, if that's what they call themselves, the cheeseheads, anything to feel better about.
No, it's certainly not. So it made me feel two things when I really thought deep about this, because I knew we were going to have a very philosophical talk. So I got deep with myself on this last night, Ryan. And the first thing was, I don't know, we'll see. It's kind of what I just said. This is a massive slap to the Packers. No franchise quarterback would say this to the team that they want to be with. So clearly that's there, and that's how I feel initially. But then I also think to this is kind of seems like he's playing a game. And is this game just going to end up being him getting a new contract? You know, we talked about it yesterday, 4 years, $160 million. Is this what he's doing? Because why is he going this far out of his way to upset Packers, but then not just saying, trade me? Because let's say the Packers trade him right now. I don't really know if he's going to win the PR battle with just these past couple days and what he's said, and clearly not saying anything endearing to the Packers organization this entire offseason. So I don't really understand why he would be doing that, but that's the last part that makes me think, gosh, is he just playing a game right now? Because he also kind of says it, kind of happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, well, I think he is like he has a lot of inner peace right now. Because he doesn't feel pressure. Like, it's almost like he's been released of some sort of shackles that, have been holding him down. Like, he just had a realization where he's like, oh, I don't have to do anything I don't want to.
Right. I can say whatever I want. I don't have to
say
show
whatever
up to
I
things
want.
I don't want
I don't have to go to practice if I don't want to. And I think there's something to that. But I've said this to you before, and I'll say it again. As soon as he says, I don't want to be in Green Bay is relieved of all guilt in the process.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mark Murphy and Gutekunst.
That's impressive.
Thanks. Felt really good. I felt like I was, just came off a couple of beers at Oktoberfest.
Speaking of a couple of beers, I would want to call him G-Man, but we already have a G-Man in Denver.
Right. Wow. What a reference. They are relieved of all guilt. What could we do? Aaron wanted out.
Yep.
He never wanted to be here. It's similar to, honestly, Nolan Arenado, right?
Right.
Like, the Rockies were, especially Jeff Bridich was the bad guy the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as Nolan's traded, like, a couple little things come out that give people a reason to relieve the Rockies of some guilt. And to be honest, from a fan base perspective, that's a lot easier. It's way easier to be mad at the person who's not here anymore than it is to be mad at the team in your backyard.
Absolutely. The team that you're going to continue to ride
right,
with,
exactly.
97% of them.
Right. Like, very few people, I think, decided this offseason, like, I'm choosing Nolan over my hometown baseball team, and I'm leaving and becoming a Cardinals fan.
Right, exactly.
Like, and if you did, never mind.
GTFO.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. But it's a lot easier to forgive your team than it is to forgive than it is to forgive the player, and it's a lot easier to villainize the player than it is to villainize your own team.
You know what else is going to come out? Very similar to the Nolan Arenado scenario or situation, how one of the Cardinals players said, yeah, Nolan's been telling me that he wants to come here for a long time. We're definitely going to hear some of that. We've already kind of heard some of that from Aaron Rodgers reportedly telling free agents, don't come here. I'm not going to come here. In fact, follow me to X city. We haven't heard what team he was mentioned yet, but we're certainly going to hear that if Aaron Rodgers is traded.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm sure like Cortland or someone is going to be like, oh yeah, like
right.
we were texting on all off season, you know, whatever.
Something we're not hearing now when Rodgers isn't a Bronco right now.
Right. Like maybe if Von Miller stopped like designing his baby's room and redesigning it, he would be texting Aaron Rodgers too.
What do you think of the wall color choice?
I liked the purple mountains.
Yeah. And now it's gold. You gotta like the gold though.
Do like the gold. Do like the gray and gold. It's very fitting. But yeah, like I think you are gonna see some stuff like that come out. And again, Aaron Rodgers is gonna fight that tooth and nail. Look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning actually is such a rare situation where Colts fans weren't mad at him.
Yeah.
They also weren't mad at the organization because they got Andrew Luck. And in fact, I think a lot of fans in the moment thought that the Colts made the right decision.
Right. Yep. They did not.
I always thought the Colts made the wrong decision. And so it's kind of one of those things where Aaron Rodgers is hoping to get that. Where when he retires and Rodgers Steakhouse opens up, there's 2 locations, on the rollout.
Yeah.
It's Green Bay and it's Denver. And if he comes out and says, I want to trade, he can't do that. He's dead in Green Bay.
Right.
Because every single person will say, like, he was always that way, like, and they'll like point to his family issues and be like, I knew this guy was bad news from the beginning, and the front office, who was really the one who screwed the pooch in all of this, gets to say like, sorry guys, there's nothing we could do. We begged and he just wouldn't stay. So he can't do it. He can't say that he wants to leave. In fact, he's probably better off just retiring than saying I want to trade.
And so another reason why I think that kind of fits your mold is something that I just saw from Andrew Brandt on Twitter, Ryan. He says, my Aaron Rodgers opinion update is the same as it's been all year. The Packers won't trade him in 2021. Aaron can't trade himself. Aaron won't retire. Same contract or some contract accommodation, financial length, or both will be made. The Packers will trade him in 2022. So kind of what you're saying fits this in a way of, if he comes out and says, I'm never playing for the Packers again, and the Packers say, well, buddy, we're not trading you, then doesn't he have to sit out if he's going to stand by his word?
Oh, yeah.
So if Rodgers is pretty much getting to that line, I need him to go over that line because I think the Packers need him to go over that line. I just assume that when he goes over the line and demands a trade publicly and things come out, that the Packers will accommodate him. But he can't trade himself. I mean, I just assume that when he goes over that line, the Packers are going to say, okay, we'll get Cortland Sutton or Bradley Chubb and 3 first-round picks back. So if Aaron gets close to the line and doesn't go over, and the Packers do the same, maybe we are talking about a different contract for him with the agreement that we'll trade you in January.
Why? So why did he say that? Why did he say they're not trading him until 2022?
I don't know. I don't know what his reasoning is for that, and I don't know what the Packers' reasoning would be. Well, I guess it would be because they could get more in return, potentially. Would there be more teams in on him? Would there be more teams that are willing to be aggressive? But then also a big one is with the rest of the teams that would be in on him, the Packers would know exactly what they're getting. They know they're not getting a 2022 first-round pick. They know they're getting the 5th overall pick in 2022. And, of course, also if they trade him now, that pick would probably end up being 29, 30, 31, 32 maybe, instead of knowing that, okay, we're getting a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I thought the Broncos originally had the leverage on draft day.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's gone away now, and it's a fact. If the Broncos still want Aaron Rodgers at the end of this year, their pick, when they didn't play with Aaron Rodgers this year, is going to be upwards of 20 picks better.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, 29-9.
Yeah. So if I was the Packers, I would actually prefer players in this. And that's what I would tell the Broncos is, look, we know we're giving you Aaron Rodgers. He's getting to the conference championship game at the worst.
Right.
So we're getting the 28th pick.
Right.
Or you guys can scrap the picks and send us Chubb, Judy,
Sutton.
They're not going to take 2 wide receivers. Okay. Chubb, Judy, like
In the Madden League, KJ Hamler is on the Packers, and he's really terrible to stop.
They want Justin Simmons.
Yep.
And one other guy.
Sure. And that would be very intriguing. Now, the reason the Packers would do that is if they truly had confidence in Jordan Love. If they said, we believe in Jordan Love, let's surround him with weapons, and then we'll be good to go. If they don't believe in Jordan Love, they're A, either going to want a quarterback, or B, they're going to want just a ton of draft capital in order to move up as far as they can in the draft to get a guy next year. So again, that's why, Jordan Love, I think they had 2 or 3 minicamp practices. First one was bad. The second, and I think the third, if they ended up having 3, were great. He was lights out. And Ryan, that's Gutekunst. Did I get it right? That is his last impression of Jordan Love. Was that minicamp when he did really well to end it out. So maybe he could be convinced on that.
Yeah, I mean, he very well could be. That's, again, they're not dumb over there. Well, I mean, they are. They're not that dumb over there.
Maybe they are.
That they don't realize that trading Aaron Rodgers to a team makes their draft picks crappy.
Right. Maybe the Broncos should do a little swap picks.
How so?
I mean, the Packers would never get into that, but Broncos give them their picks. They give them.
No. But maybe the Broncos can, I don't know, trade for a first-round draft pick from the Giants.
Right. Really sweeten the deal.
Right, and say, we'll give you our first-round pick, the Giants' first-round pick.
Yeah.
But, I mean, teams aren't giving up first-round picks in July for anything short of a star.
No, you're exactly right. So, Ryan, I'm at 65%. I've gone up 10%. Where are you after literally 5 words?
So, yesterday I was at 40-60.
Yep. 50? You 50-50 guy?
I'm not going 50-50 quite yet. I'm going to go 49-51.
There we go. I mean, we just jumped a total of 19%.
Yeah, did you take anything from him saying, Chuck, I'll tell you next week in Tahoe?
Oh my gosh, come on. And no, nothing from that. Did you?
I thought that maybe, just maybe, that's when he's going to be ready to retire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he tells Chuck, and Chuck's the one to announce it?
No, but just he's at there's a chance maybe he's at 90% ready to retire right now.
Wow.
And he's saying next week, I think, is probably when I'll get over the hump.
Especially, we know in the football end, he went out on an L. He could go out on a life end right now with the dub that he just had over Tom Brady.
True. He can say, I finished my career with a win over Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. Man, so I never thought about the retirement aspect playing into that, because what I thought was there's 2 options. Well, one option, he can tell Charles Barkley that he is going to go back to the Packers when training camp starts, or there's literally no other option that he can tell Chuck there. Because, again, he can't trade himself. There is that other option. He can retire.
He can trade himself to Jeopardy.
Man, and then he just gets to play more golf. It seemed like he was having a blast out there. He found out, too, he can throw a football on the golf course.
That course looked like a creation out of a video game.
It did.
That wasn't real.
It did. Where was it?
Montana.
Yeah.
It's called Moonlight Basin. Even that sounds fake.
It does. Are you going to play out there?
I would love to. It's funny how big the states are in the West. I texted Henry because Henry's in Montana right now, and I was like, have you ever played there? And he was like, no, dude, that's 8 hours away from me.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
He'd probably take a plane there.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be the most popular golf course for the rest of the summer, too.
Dude, I couldn't get over it. There was nothing around.
Yeah.
It was literally like a sanctuary to golf.
It was. And just kind of how there was some clouds in places, looked a little mystical, too.
And I was just looking for houses. Where are the houses?
No, just a golf course.
Crazy.
Do you get helicoptered in? Instead of heli skiing, it's heli golfing?
That's how DeChambeau showed up.
Of course he did. What'd you think of that?
Dude, DeChambeau, huge day for him in my eyes.
Yeah.
It helped that I was cheering for him before it even started, but he was cool. He didn't do anything that bugged me. Now, I only watched the front 9 before I had to go pick up my new TV, by the way.
Ooh.
She's a beauty.
70?
70.
Oh. Did you get it from a certain person?
No, I
Okay,
didn't. I
okay.
didn't. That's a different conversation. So yeah, had to go pick up the new TV. I was kind of hoping to have the new TV to watch it on there, but it just didn't line up that way with my day yesterday. But like the hat, I realized the hat has like special meaning behind it to him. He has to realize it just makes him really unrelatable.
Right.
I felt like he had some relatable moments. He was self-deprecating. He made jokes at Phil and Tom. Big day for him. I've been a big Bryson hater, and the needle swayed all the way the other way for me yesterday.
I do think it helped him, although I gotta say, when he was getting in the helicopter, I thought, oh boy, this is not going to go
tough.
over well.
Yep,
Yeah, because then I
agree.
thought he was just going to continue to build off that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm giving Bryson a new lease, on my fandom.
Kind of like me and Rodgers.
Yes, very much so. I hope he has someone in his corner who says like, dude, maybe next tournament just wear a regular hat.
Right.
It might do you some real good.
Do you think it would help with a lot of people?
Yeah, I really do. There's something about like his name, Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, that's really easy to hate.
Yeah.
And it's weird when he doesn't wear a hat, he doesn't have a punchable face. As soon as he puts the hat on, it's like, God, that's a really punchable
So
face.
the flow game is good then.
Yeah, hair's solid, but again, just normal hat. Big move for him.
Normal hat. So he can wear a hat. It doesn't have to be no hat.
Could that's what he was wearing yesterday, just like a normal Puma hat.
Yep.
So that was huge. Where were we? Oh, that course. My God.
Yes. And then where were we before that?
I don't remember. But that's a dream course. That is a dream course.
That
I'm
literally
putting it on
looked
my
like
bucket list.
It looked like a dream.
Yes. Literally.
Is it a country club?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
In Montana, 8 hours away from Hank, I don't know if there's like enough people that would live there to be a country club.
If you drove 8 hours on the East Coast, you would cross
my God.
12 states.
How many people would you cross? Like 100 million?
Yeah.
How many would you cross from Hank to that course?
100. All right, let's rope her back into Aaron Rodgers here. I want to talk about we talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers. We rarely talk about Aaron Rodgers. We talk about Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos or Aaron Rodgers to Jeopardy. Are there any other teams in the mix? I want to talk about that and potentially the odds that DraftKings, I guess, updated yesterday briefly before taking them down again. So we'll get around to that. But speaking of DraftKings, let's start with our DraftKings pick of the week.
Ryan, you're probably the worst person to tee up.
Could have just ended right there.
No, you're probably the worst person for me to tee this up for because I think you believe in him the least of anyone else. But who do you think should be the favorite to be the offensive rookie in the year this year in the NFL?
Favorite for offensive rookie of the year in the NFL should probably be Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, good. Look at you. You played the game with me. Thank you. I know you're a little more down on not necessarily him, but maybe the whole Jags situation than a lot of people. But it probably should be the number one overall pick like we've talked about. He's kind of somehow flown under the radar really this past entire year. But he should be the favorite, and he is the favorite over at DraftKings Sportsbook. But I love the odds that you get with Trevor Lawrence at plus 300. I think Trevor Lawrence should kind of be a minus 150 guy, a minus 100 guy here, and you're getting plus 300? I love that. I think after the first, let's hope it's not the first 2 weeks, maybe just the first week, he balls out, these odds are going to drastically shift, and everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is the truth. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. So give me Trevor Lawrence plus 300.
That's a great pick. What are the other guys on there?
Guess who would be two? I won't make you go down the whole list. This one doesn't shock me, to kind of give you a hint, but I was a little surprised.
Mac Jones.
No.
Oh,
No.
when you said it doesn't shock you.
Right. No, you're right track, though. Right track, not a wide receiver. First round.
Najee?
Yes. Yeah, at plus 500. They just assume that he's in a fantastic situation to succeed.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Yeah, I was just shocked that he was two. I'm not surprised he's the first running back. Then you have Trey Lance at plus 600, a guy that isn't really supposed to start, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think you trade up to number 3 for a guy.
Yeah. And then this next one, the same. Not supposed to start. Justin Fields plus 700. I think
So
we all
I
believe
would
he's
actually
playing.
put Justin Fields second.
I would too. I would too, because I think maybe he doesn't start this. I think he's going to start the season, but even if he doesn't, I think he's in week 2 or something like that.
And I don't think he has to do a lot in Chicago to garner the type of media attention that would result in him winning Rookie of the Year.
Fair.
You know, like, no one would say something like, the NFL is just better when the Jaguars are good, you know?
Never.
But someone would absolutely say that about the Bears.
Oh, of course.
The NFL is just better when the Bears are good, which is one of my least favorite sentences in any sport.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who
Yep.
the good teams are as long as they're cool and exciting.
As long as they're good.
Yeah,
Yep.
NBA is just better when the Knicks are
Right.
good. No, it's not.
So then you're okay with this finals matchup.
I love this finals
Yeah.
matchup.
Because it's good teams.
It's two good teams with exciting players.
Yep.
That's all I'm looking for. I
That sounds
do
like,
not care
sounds
what
like
colors.
good basketball.
Don't care what colors they're wearing unless those colors involve Denver.
I thought you were going to say unless it's,
Black and gold.
yeah, or the opposite, green and gold.
Oh, no, I mean, technically the Bucks are flirting with that.
Yeah, they are.
Cream City, as they call themselves.
Interesting.
Interesting choice.
Fifth here, Kyle Pitts at plus 800. Those are, without Julio, he should be putting up stats.
We know, though, that rookie tight ends don't
That's true.
usually do that.
That's true. So then I have
And rookie wide receivers don't either.
how do you feel about Zach Wilson plus 800? Because he's kind of the opposite of Trey Lance and Justin Fields. Not in a great situation, but he's going to be the dude there.
Andy's biggest market.
Yeah. And when was the last time Jets had anyone to market? I mean, legitimately. They
Mark
tried
Sanchez?
Sam Darnold. Yeah, Mark Sanchez. Yikes.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I kind of like Trevor
Who you
Lawrence
taking on the
and Zach
handsome
Wilson.
scale? Mark Sanchez or Zach Wilson?
Oh, definitely. I'm a babyface guy, so you got to go Zach Wilson.
Fair enough. I think I would go Sanchez.
There we go.
Okay. My DraftKings pick of the week. I think it ends tonight.
Ah,
I think
okay.
it ends tonight. In very convincing fashion. I'm not really willing to chase the value though and give away the 1.5 at plus 117. I just don't think it's good enough value. So give me the Lightning in 60 minutes minus 137. You know, they don't deserve to lose, but did you see the comments from like their mayor or whatever?
Yes.
The city, like she deserves for what would happen. if
Boy,
they
that
lose.
would be tough.
Yeah, you never come back from that.
No.
But
Especially in a public office where people vote for you.
oh yeah, you will lose the vote on that alone. But I think the Lightning get it done. They save her from the curse. Like, you have to realize what you did after they lose that game. You have to start sweating a little bit.
Here's the thing is, I don't believe in jinxes like that, and so I'm okay texting people that stuff, but even I know, don't go publicly and say that.
So Avs are up 3-0 in the cup. You would text a buddy like,
Yep.
it's not the worst thing if they lose this one.
I would text you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't
and I
put
know.
that evil on me.
I think I've done that once in something, and I got the response of like, I understood. Don't do it again.
It was a bet. I don't remember what
Yeah,
it was.
a
but
bet. You ended up winning though. You were okay.
Yes. I told Andre this early in our DNVR bets relationship. I was like, the only thing you're allowed to text me about a bet is an emoji. No words.
I like that. Okay.
So let's say we have, Broncos -7 and they're like up 28.
Yep.
You can send me like an eye emoji.
Happy
And
face.
Just like, or yeah, even that's just stick with an eye emoji. Like, oh, this is going well, but nothing more. That's when I start to get uncomfortable.
So then,
and
do you send the emojis? I feel like you wouldn't.
once
even
in
go
a
that far.
while,
Okay.
maybe, but then I regret it instantly, and I'm like, why did I do that?
So you got to wait till like they're up 35.
With like 2 minutes left.
Right.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity to jinx it.
Wow. I mean, I do know. Don't take it public.
Especially as someone who is like a public figure.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, that's rough. But she's saved. They win 3-0 tonight. and it's okay.
I really like that as well because, I mean, just how close the other game was. It could have easily been over then to an overtime, but now I just think I think they'll take care of it, and I think they'll come out really hot too. So maybe even get in on a first period line as well. But I love it, and something else I love is getting in on UFC 264 this week over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So you can win money tonight by taking yours. You can win money this weekend by getting in on UFC 264, and you can win money after the football season by taking my bet over at DraftKings Sportsbook. They literally have it all over there, guys. And what they're offering is 264-1 odds to celebrate UFC 264. What you do is pick the main fighter event who you think is going to win in a first-round knockout. And if that person wins in a first-round knockout, you get $264 from our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. You're not going to find better odds than that anywhere. And it's a fun one, man. With McGregor in there, it's going to be one to watch. So might as well put a buck in to win $264.
I'm saying put your buck on Poirier.
Oh, are ya?
Big Poirier guy.
Okay, I like that.
Pour it on Poirier.
I kind of think everyone would be pulling for Poirier, right?
No, I mean, McGregor's like the biggest UFC fighter. Like, his fan base is the biggest.
Really? He hasn't had people turn on him yet.
I mean, I'm sure they have, but like, not enough.
Then I do like that, kind of taking the underdog in Poirier.
Yep, exactly. But it is a sick deal, and I'll let you finish in a second. We're going to have the fight on here at the bar for the first time because, as you guys probably know, the pay-per-view stuff is tricky for bars.
Yeah.
But we're going to put it on.
Ooh, so
come on
everyone
down.
here is going to have the $1 264.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and everyone here is going to have all sorts of action, and we're going to have a good time. Rockies are playing that night, so we'll have that on too. Think of it as just like an excuse to go party.
Yeah, I love that. And then, man, you get your Breck Brews, everything. And how you get that deal is make sure to sign up and download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get that offer. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Real quick, on a lot of people in the comments talking about I think it started with me just naming all the good players that the Broncos have that they would have to trade to get him. So let's say their offers are this. And you'd have to do a trade. Obviously, you can only trade 3 first rounds at a time, right? Unless you have someone else's.
Yep.
So you have to trade somehow to acquire another. They say 4 firsts or Chubb, Judy, and Pat Surtain.
4 firsts.
Yeah.
And okay. Do you also have to include in those 4 firsts that you're losing one of those guys in order to get that other first?
Let's just live in a fairy tale world where you're not.
Yep, I'm doing 4 firsts. And I'm hoping that 3 of those firsts are very late 20s, with understanding that maybe that very last one, well, even then, actually, that last one that you're trading, since you actually aren't trading 4 years out, you're only trading 3 years out, I'm counting on all the ones I'm trading to be bad picks.
Yeah, I think so too. And you think about it, like, none of those names are hits yet. And we can debate Bradley Chubb forever, but I think you would be on my side in saying, as a number 5 overall pick, he has not lived up to that yet.
No.
Judy, up and down last year.
Yep.
Now his bar is much lower at 15, even though I thought he was top 5 worthy, so I don't know if I give him that break.
Right.
And Pat Surtain, we don't know anything about. But they're also not misses.
Right.
Yet. Chubb, you're not going to call him a miss.
No.
He's not a bust in any world.
The Broncos sell him as a Pro Bowler.
Right. Judy, you can just tell by looking at him, he's not a bust.
Right.
And Surtain is still, 80-20, probably not a bust.
Right.
So that's like the enticing thing from the Packers side is there's no misses, but GMs they believe in themselves.
Yep.
Or they're cocky, whatever you want to call it.
Gutekunst shouldn't believe in himself.
He shouldn't, but you'll take, 4 swings saying like I can do better than Chubb is probably the best one right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. So from a Broncos perspective, I definitely do the picks, and Gutekunst might actually like that.
But again, 5, 10, and 15. Those are where those picks are.
Yep.
Broncos have Aaron Rodgers. I will literally say there's no chance any of the picks get higher than 15.
Oh, and if so, it's a massive failure. It means Aaron
someone was
Rodgers
injured.
had his downfall year.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going with?
The year we don't speak of.
The year which shall not be named. That turned out to be a Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, that's the weirdest part of it all. So yeah, I mean, I think both sides would probably rather do the picks. The problem is just that you're picking at 28.
Yep.
And they know that. They have to know that.
Right.
So
what do you think's better for to sell it to the Packers? Trade him before this season and pretty much know you're getting 28, or trade him when you know that you're getting like the 28th pick back.
I mean, so he's going.
It's probably a very unrealistic situation because if the Broncos are picking 28 next offseason, they're probably not trading for Aaron Rodgers because Drew Lock probably balled out of his mind.
Yeah, Drew Lock proved PFF wrong.
Yes.
What did you think of just that saga?
I felt like it was very, very unnecessary. It just totally out of left field. You're talking about the tweet, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm just saying the whole thing, start to finish. It starts with the tweet, which it could have been anyone,
It could have been anyone.
But they just, whoever was, at the keys decided they probably were this is what I would do if I was sending this tweet. If we were in a room like this, I would have looked around and been like, who's like a quarterback who just like misses people all the time?
Right.
And someone said Drew Lock, and they were like, yes, that's good.
I think everyone inside PFF's building said Drew Lock at once.
No,
That's just how they
I think
are.
someone else was probably like, oh, it's whatever, it's whoever, and they were like, let's go Drew Lock,
Right.
because they're high on Jerry Jeudy and low on Drew Lock. It was like an easy thing to fit their brand.
Yeah.
So it was, but no one would be complaining. No Broncos fan would be complaining about how out of left field it was if it wasn't about Drew Lock.
Right. Exactly. You're right. Yeah, that's fair.
So, but it was just like a very surprising jab.
What surprised me even more was then Broncos fans last night quote tweeting it with videos of Drew Lock just consistently missing Jerry Jeudy.
So I only saw one person do that.
I think I saw 3.
So I thought, here's where I am on this. I thought the tweet from PFF was a little uncalled for.
Okay.
I thought Broncos fans responding and whining about it looked soft.
Okay.
And then I thought the Broncos account tweeting it out this morning looked even worse.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that last part. Definitely.
And I like when teams are savage on Twitter. This one just didn't hit the mark in the right way, I don't think.
A little, not
It's
whiny,
salty.
but kind of, exactly.
It looked salty.
Yeah, it did. It did. And also, just numbers don't help,
Right.
Just kind of be quiet, move on, put something else funny out.
I noticed a lot of people in the Broncos organization very defensive of Drew. Does that give you any feelings towards maybe they're still in on Drew?
Maybe. Ryan, here's what I'll say, especially talking about Aaron Rodgers potentially being traded after this season. Let's say the Broncos truly are all in on Aaron right now, like I believe, like we believe and have been told. Let's say a trade doesn't happen right now, but they know the situation with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay is he's going back for 1 year, then he's being traded. Make Drew Lock the starter this year. I'm not like that typically. But in this scenario, you got to look long term.
Yeah.
And even I think right now, Teddy's going to win the job. Teddy's probably the better quarterback for this team this year. But then you would take a whole different approach. And George Payton would have to step in and either say, Vic, your defense has to be top 5 and you'll keep your job next year. Don't worry about team success or offensive success. Or, Vic, good luck. Let's see what happens this year. But Drew's going to be your quarterback because with Teddy, why would you tread water this year or try to make the playoffs or be 7-9? Or I guess, 7-9.
7-10.
7-10. No. Then
8-9.
8-9. That's what I'm looking for. As opposed to just seeing if Drew Lock can develop because there's nothing really Teddy can do this year for you to say we're not trading for Aaron Rodgers next year.
No.
There's something Drew can do.
Absolutely.
That can say, and now it may be slight, but there's a chance there that something Drew can do to become your franchise quarterback where you're saying, we'd rather have Drew for 15 years than Aaron Rodgers for at that time 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that 100%. And it's kind of how I feel, regardless of what that happens with the Aaron Rodgers situation, is, look, last year, Drew went down. He's actually gone down in both years of his NFL career right now. Having Teddy is way better than having Jeff Driscoll.
Yes.
And that's how I want to view that move.
Yeah.
It was the Broncos' way of cheaply improving their quarterback room. Mm-hmm. Not you brought in Teddy to what? Like you said, win 8 games, win 9 games, save Vic's job. Like, I hate looking at it that way, and I hope that's not the way we end up having to look at it, because it's not. It feels like a directionless move.
Yeah.
And, Eric talks about how he's like, I just need to believe that the Broncos had a bigger plan in place when they didn't draft Justin Fields. And it's kind of what we've been giving them, that benefit of the doubt, like this whole offseason.
Yep.
The view, my feelings towards the draft are teetering every day in terms of what happens next. If Aaron Rodgers goes back to the Packers, I'm really scratching my head. And then if Justin Fields does anything,
right?
Like, if he gets them to the playoffs or close to the playoffs and he looks solid,
oh boy,
you're banging your head against the wall saying, what the hell were they thinking?
Yeah, we're going to be in a world of hurt then.
George Payton's never coming out and saying, like, I thought we were getting Aaron Rodgers.
Right. That would probably help him.
It would, but he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like an insult to Teddy and Drew and Pat Surtain all at the same time.
It would be.
So, man, and then you start reading into that quote where he's like, we loved Justin Fields. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, if that's actually true, which I never believed it to be true. But then, okay, maybe they did love him, but they thought they were getting Aaron Rodgers, and they really did like Pat Surtain. Things start to get a little ugly. So I've been giving them that benefit of the doubt that they had bigger plans in mind this whole time. If that goes away, it starts to get ugly for me. And again, I want to believe, you traded, it was an easy, cheap trade to improve your quarterback room significantly without trying to get a starter. And then you go and make him the starter, and now I'm like,
right.
So you really, like Mace always talks about, like, well, maybe George Payton's view of Teddy Bridgewater is just different. I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to lose a little confidence in the guy because he's trying to, like, recreate something that was 5 years ago with Teddy Bridgewater. Like, that's... Well, I'm not going to like that.
And it reminds you of John Elway and his approach to not just the quarterbacks, but drafts and stuff. He's hit on a lot of non-quarterbacks. He's done a good job, especially when you look at Garrett Bowles turning out to be a success. He hit there. He kind of hit on Bradley Chubb. I agree with you. We're not fully there saying he was a hit, but he's not a bust yet. He hit on Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy looks like he's a hit, but then you look at quarterbacks. Obviously, he didn't hit in the draft. And then also... he thought Joe Flacco was in his prime. Sold us to that as being in his prime. Same thing with Teddy potentially. That's a scary, scary route to go down. That'll give Broncos fans a lot of flashbacks.
I don't want to go down that path.
No.
I really don't. No. So hopefully they've got something up their sleeve here.
And also with George, let's say I just don't think he's going to be the one putting Teddy out there. He's going to be the one making that decision. But let's say he does put Drew out there and makes that decision. Drew's not his guy. So, like, he can walk away from the season and say, okay, now I'm going to get my guy. I'm not just going to get a guy that I'm trading a 6th-round pick for.
What's crazy is, like, if they were to trade for Aaron Rodgers, there's literally no package that I would then later blame them for.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I would never come back and be like, I can't believe they traded that much for Aaron Rodgers. Total miss.
I agree.
But I will. It's like the opposite if they don't trade for Aaron Rodgers, and I'm like, what are they doing?
Right. Yeah.
There was no plan here.
Right. Yeah.
So
plan's important.
Absolutely. And it was one of the biggest criticisms that people that worked in the Broncos organization during the John Elway GM era had, especially post Peyton Manning.
Right.
The complaint was we never felt like John had a plan to get us out of this.
Right. Is it flying by the seat of their pants?
I think it's flying by the seat of their pants.
And now what does that mean?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know where the origination of that comes from. But
that's kind of how it was described.
yes.
He was flying by the seat of his pants.
That's got to be it, right?
That makes a lot more sense than seed.
Yeah, it's like they just thought, oh, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
And, Brock's going to sign here. Well, he didn't, thankfully. Okay, well, we'll just draft whoever's available when we get, we kind of like Paxton Lynch. Let's go get him. Mm-hmm. Did you do your homework on him? No. It was just one thing after another.
Yikes.
Okay, we'll go get Keenum. Like that. I feel like every person in the football world was looking at Case Keenum being like, whoever, the report we saw on Juwan James was the whoopee cushion.
Yeah.
I felt like Case Keenum was a whoopee cushion to everyone else. Like, we talked ourselves into it. Everyone in Denver talked themselves into it, or most people in Denver talked themselves into it. Everyone else around football is like, really?
Yeah. I mean,
Case Keenum?
When
That's gonna 2 years in a row.
When the Vikings aren't signing him, that's when you know. The Vikings aren't even committing to him being their starter when he's playing really well.
It would be like if the Broncos had no interest in signing Brock, and then everyone looked at the Texans and was like,
right.
The team that had him for 4 years, you didn't think that maybe them not wanting him was a sign?
Boy, I never thought of it that way, but good thing we didn't back then.
Right.
It would have been very negative.
Yeah, so you need a plan.
Yep.
And the plan needs to be really obvious, not only to you, but to the organization, to the coaching staff, and maybe not as directly, but to the fan base.
Yeah.
Meaning the fans can feel that there's a rudder on the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's why people want to believe in Drew Lock so bad. And I know Mace always brings out the numbers to kind of bash the hope down, but people want to believe because he's the first potential legitimate plan that they've had. When they brought him in, there was a plan, the Favre Rodgers situation where he was going to sit behind the great Brett Favre, Joe Flacco for many years. At least there was a plan. It was a terrible plan. It was very poorly executed, but there was a plan.
And there was even a plan of when they wanted to get him back from injury and what team they wanted to start him against and all that stuff. Like, you're right. It was comforting to know there's a direction here.
That's where we were. That's how far down we were. We just liked that there was a plan in place.
We were down
even though
bad.
It hasn't necessarily looked like the best plan.
We didn't like the plan at all. We were like pounding the table and yelling and screaming every day of the season. Like, just start Drew already. And again, we'd be probably in a better place now had they started Drew 4 weeks earlier.
Maybe it honestly would have been Justin Fields at 9. Because then that other extra game sample size, they would have said, okay, he's not the truth. Or Drew would have taken off by now. Or taken off, instead of kind of having a strong 4 games to end the season last year, would have been a strong 8 games to end the season.
Wow, that's such a difference. Man. And you have a 22-game sample size now, which doesn't feel like it's barely more than a year.
Right.
16, 18, what does 18 do for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's 1 year pretty much.
It's 1 year. Whereas we were saying, like, we've got 22 games here, and the last 5 of his rookie season were good, and the last 8 of his sophomore season was good. That's 13 out of 22.
Right.
The dude's, 24 years old?
Yep, and he's got momentum on his side now.
It would be a lot easier sell to the fans.
Yep, it would be.
Whereas 4 games at the end of the season last year, and it's really easy to start picking apart that sample size and saying, well, it was the Panthers, right? And it was who was the good one that he had at home?
And then outside of the Panthers game, he had 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That's not terrible, but that's also not, lighting your pants on fire.
It's not a saying. One?
No,
certainly not a saying.
I thought I'd go back to the pants.
Lighting your liar pants on fire. You're combining that with lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, lighting the world on fire. There we go.
Yeah, it's true. That 4 more games, and I don't remember how many we wanted. I remember we wanted him to start against the Browns.
Right.
So then what? It went Browns. Vikings?
You need Mace here for this, man.
Well, I'm thinking, remember, it was the
Vikings
Brandon Allen era, right?
Yep.
Was it 2 or 3 for him?
There was the Bengals too, right? No? Am I just thinking of another Cleveland team like the Browns?
So, Brandon Allen's first game was against the Browns, I believe.
Okay.
Then they went to Minnesota. Then they went to Buffalo.
Yep. And
that was the last one.
Total failure.
3 more. We would have probably gotten 3 more.
Yep.
Because I want to say the Cleveland game came right off the bye. And that's what we were saying, just like
Yep.
start them at home
Pull the
against
Band-Aid off,
Cleveland.
yeah.
And Brandon Allen won that game. And then they probably would have won the next week too against the Vikings if they had Drew.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe not the Bills game. Remember, that was like the really windy one.
George Payton would have. Well, if anyone can play through wind.
It's true. Bigger arm. Yeah, I mean, these were all the conversations we were having at the time.
Yeah.
And then finally they get him in there. So we'd have 3 more games. That gets us to 21.
Yeah.
It at
a good
least
number.
feels, it feels a lot more dense. It feels like a real sample. Whereas now you can have the people who are saying, look, the sample is telling us it's not good enough. And the other people are saying, look, the sample isn't big enough.
At least we were right on that. Remember the Broncos felt very good that they did it right with Drew ending the season 4-1.
Yeah. Wait, so think of it this way. He had 5 good games to start his career, right?
Right.
Or was it, I guess it was 4. There was
The Chiefs game.
The Chiefs game. And then 4 good ones at the end of this year.
Yep.
That doesn't feel like a lot. That's 8 games, right?
Right.
That's half the sample.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little less than half. And I guess you'd have some people that would nitpick and say 3 of the games, like I said, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions to end the year last year. So that includes, 1 of no touchdowns, I think. And so some people would point to that.
But I guess
as
it was
well.
trending up.
Sure.
There's also like, you could, if we went through and dissected every game, I think you would get close to 50-50. Because like, there's the Chargers game that, getting that one.
Right.
But then like, so that one was only good at the end. Well, then there's like the Patriots game.
Right.
Where they won the game and Drew could have had much better numbers, but the receivers weren't catching anything. Like it feels real bad because there was a real bad stretch in the middle last year.
Right.
But when you look at the sample in its entirety, I think it's about 50-50 solid to not solid.
And then so people would say that's clearly not good enough in the NFL. So then you'd have to dive in and say, okay, what do other guys in their first 20 starts? Is it about 50-50?
Yep.
And then when do they take off?
Yeah, think of it this way. Drew starts this season. What did the first 2? Giants.
Jags.
So
And
2
Jets.
good games, right?
Should be 3.
So now I'm saying, let's say he goes 2 good ones. Now you're at 20 starts.
Right.
And he's going to be over 50% above average games or average to above average games.
Right.
And those are and then you would just feel a lot different.
You feel some momentum.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then again, Jags at home or Jets at home.
I don't know how we got here except for they need a plan. And we can only hope that they have one.
Those are the best ones when you don't know where you're going. That's a classic July 7th pod right there.
We didn't have a plan. We actually did. But all right, that's going to wrap it up for the live side of things. We're going to flip over to the podcast side. You can catch that anywhere you listen to podcasts. And again, come down to the DNVR bar, hang out this weekend. It's going to be a blast.